Quick, what's the most famous record company building in the world? If you said the Capitol Records building on Hollywood and Vine, you're probably right. Capitol Records was founded in 1942 as the first West Coast-based label in the United States. Up until that point, they've been mainly East Coast labels out of New York. The company was founded by Johnny Mercer, Buddy DeSilva, and Glenn E. Wallachs. After Columbia introduced the 33 RPM vinyl record in 1948, Capitol Records was quick to jump on the 33 RPM bandwagon and start releasing records in the new format. The Capitol Records building is known as the house that Nat built because Nat King Cole, a very famous artist on Capitol Records, sold so many records at the time, made so much money for Capitol Records, they were able to build the Capitol Records building, Hollywood and Vine. They scored prime real estate in Hollywood, and the building, after it was constructed, soon became an iconic landmark. The construction of the building, the house that Nat built, wrapped up in April of 1956, and then the building was opened, and it was the first circular office building in the world. And if you look at it, doesn't it? It looks like a stack of records, and sure enough, if you were to look at the Capitol Records building from above, it would look just like a vinyl record on a turntable. They have the spindle in the middle, that's the spire on the building, but apparently that was coincidental. It wasn't actually meant to be the spire like the spindle, but that's how it turned out, and it's just fantastic, an iconic, legendary building, definitely the most famous record company building in the world, the Capitol Records building. It's been in movies, television, and of course on albums all over the world. In addition to Nat King Cole, Frank Sinatra, another early artist on Capitol Records who made a lot of money for the label. Some of his best known, biggest recordings were released on Capitol in the 40s and the 50s. And Capitol Records was also the American label for the Beatles. All of those early Capitol Beatles albums are worth quite a few bucks if you've got one in pretty nice condition. Capitol Records had some amazing artists working in-house. When the 10-inch vinyl format was introduced, however, they sort of started with things a little plain. Something like this, more cover and color than any design. Stan Kenton, a presentation of progressive jazz. H172. Rather informative back cover. Has all the songs, details about the recordings, and the music inside. Concert creations for guitar by Lorindo Alameda. And notice the same finger-entwined kind of design, almost like if you're looking at two pianos together from above. This one very specific that, yes, this is a record with guitar music inside. Then the Capitol Records logo. The Capitol label really hasn't changed much over the years. The Capitol building, above the logo with the stars. Another very basic, simple cover, Art Tatum. Just a fantastic record. Here is Art Tatum at his best. And the design, the waterfront there, wraps around the back. This one features something very cool on the back, something that a couple of these records have. They came from the collection of Gene and David Craig. They lived at 38th Street West, likely in Calgary, Alberta, and they had a stamp that they would actually put on their records. It's quite common when you're buying old records to see people's names written on them. You never wanted to lose track of your records, so that was the way to do it. You put a stamp on there, and that record is yours. Now, all of these covers feature the thin covers and the wraparound, the early wraparound design. Everything was printed together and then just wrapped around. And then here you have the cardboard with the paper printed and glued on and wrapped around. Stardusting, Billy Butterfield. Very plain design again, just a picture of Billy amongst the stars, then his name and the Capitol logo on the cover. The back cover as well. Lots of information. Capitol Records, great back covers, even in the early days. Pictures of the artist, plenty of details about the music inside. This is from, I picked up a bunch of records, a big collection that was apparently from a radio station back in the day. So you can imagine a radio station in the 50s. Here's a new record. And there was never any information on the spine. There really wasn't a spine on record covers until things got into the late 50s when 12-inch records were introduced. So what the radio station had to do was they have labels with the name of the artist on there. Billy Butterfield Orchestra. That's how it would be filed in the shelving. And if you wanted to get out the Billy Butterfield record, find it there, pull it out, the blue label, throw it on the turntable. Another one, the same coloring. Battle of the Bands, a little more intricate, showing pictures of all the artists inside. Stan Kenton, Benny Goodman, Woody Herman, Charlie Barnett, Dizzy Gillespie, Bobby Sherwood, Billy Butterfield, Benny Carter. Find yourself a good solid chair, sit back and hang on, for here is a battle of some of the greatest bands that have come upon the American jazz scene. Capitol Records designs also became distinct as they had another version of the frame cover. This is what the frame covers on Capitol Records look like. The voices of Walter Schumann, another great back cover with plenty of information and the picture. Pretty plain front cover, not a lot, but actually if you look closer in the middle, in the WS for Walter Schumann, lots of silhouettes of heads of the many voices of Walter Schumann. Christmas music by Father Flanagan's Boys Town Choir, and quite a bit on the back cover. So here's some great art by Jan Garber, Garden of Waltzes. You can see they have the patio lanterns there. So although there really isn't any explanation as to why all the records had a similar frame cover like this, my theory is that these were all available on 78 RPM previous to being released on 10-inch 33 RPM. So to distinguish between the two formats, they put the frame around the cover so that you would know this is not the 78 version, but the 33 because it has the frame cover. This is an example. We have the frame cover, which these records all being bought in Canada. So Canadian versions of the covers, which similar to the American, sometimes not, but this is the Canadian American version of the 33 RPM 10-inch release of Jane Froman with A Song in My Heart. And this is the Australian version. A lot simpler and plainer, also with the thinner format of the cover board. The back covers have the same write-up, but different artistic layout, of course. Here we have a couple of Billy May records, some good time, party, big band, orchestra music. This one really exemplifies the big band bash. Check out everybody dancing, having a great time. Another very cool back cover. Then a pair of Ray Anthony records. This is Ray Anthony, a young man with the horn, and Ray in front of the bright red background with the couple dancing. The back cover, the floating head, drawing of the horn. This one, there's a lot of stuff going on in this cover. This is a house party hop, Ray Anthony and his orchestra. So the cover just features a picture of the house party hop. You got the couples dancing, there's a guy having a good time, somebody's bouncing down the stairs, the cup there, a couple smooching, buddy's playing the trumpet. You got Granny having some punch, why not? The fellow down there at the bottom of the stairs, don't know what he's doing. The moon up in the sky, through the window. And this is one of the earlier examples I have of the art from the front cover carrying over to the back cover. You have Buddy down there in the corner chasing a skirt. And there he is again on the back cover, and you see the full picture of the lady he's chasing, and she's reading the paper that Ray Anthony are voted #1 band. Maybe he's saying, can I read the paper? I want the comic section.